All right, let's dive right in. Look, if you're gearing up for an e-commerce hackathon, you already know the intense pressure of those super tight deadlines. The clock is literally ticking, the requirements are heavy, and honestly, the biggest trap you can fall into is getting bogged down in manual data entry when you really should be building out your core features. So consider this explainer your absolute ultimate guide to mastering the data flow. We're going to map out exactly how to build a dynamic, high-speed Next.js storefront powered by a Sanity backend, and we're going to do it without wasting a single precious minute.
Here is our roadmap for this explainer. 1. The Hackathon Data Challenge. 2. Automated import into Sanity. 3. The Next.js and Sanity connection. 4. Data fetching with Grok. 5. The cart and checkout process. And finally, 6. Saving data back to Sanity.
Section 1. The Hackathon Data Challenge. Let's start with Phase 1, which is usually the biggest bottleneck. You get your UI template for the hackathon, and it is beautifully designed, right? But it's entirely empty. Your first major hurdle is figuring out how to populate it with realistic products, and fast.
So I gotta ask you directly, how exactly do you plan to populate your templates with dozens of products without wasting hours of your life? Because in a time-limited event, whether you've got 24 hours or 7 days, spending half your time just typing out product descriptions and uploading images one by one is pretty much a guaranteed way to fall behind the pack.
That leaves you at a crossroads. On one hand, you've got manual schema entry. That means jumping into the Sanity Studio, painstakingly creating your product schema, clicking Add New, uploading an image, typing out the title, setting the price, and then repeating that 50 times. Yeah, no thanks. On the other hand, you have API auto-import. By using a pre-built mock API script, you can fetch an entire database of products and instantly inject it straight into your personal Sanity dataset in a matter of seconds. Honestly, the choice is pretty clear if you actually want to win this thing.
Section 2. Automated import into Sanity. So the provided mock API is designed specifically to solve this exact bottleneck. It fetches the remote product data, loops through it, and gets it all ready for your local database. But for that script to actually write data into your secure Sanity account, you're going to need a key. To really wrap your head around this, think about this brilliant analogy from Sir Amin during the practice class. He explained that a Sanity token is essentially like a Governor House ID card. It proves exactly who you are, and it grants you unique, secure access to your specific account. If you don't generate this API token in your Sanity settings, your Next.js app is basically just a stranger knocking on a locked door.
Now, when you generate that token, you'll be asked what permissions to grant. You absolutely must choose Developer Access. Why? Because Developer Access unlocks full CRUD operations: create, read, update, and delete. If you only give it viewer permissions, it can only read the data. But to automatically import products, and later on to actually save user orders, you need the power to actively create and manage data in persistent storage. It's a real game changer.
Section 3. Next.js and Sanity connection. All right, the data is imported and it's sitting nicely in Sanity. Let's move to the critical bridge phase, where we finally connect our Next.js storefront to this newly populated Sanity backend. Here is the exact setup sequence you need to follow. First, you create the project in Sanity and you grab that API token we just talked about. Third, and please, this is absolutely vital, you secure those credentials, so your project ID, dataset name, and token, inside your .env.local file. Never, ever hard code these. Finally, running the command npm create sanity at latest right within your Next.js folder is going to embed the Sanity Studio directly into your app directory. It'll ask you a few quick config questions, wire things up, and boom, your front end and back end are officially talking to each other. Section 4. Data fetching with Grok. Okay, the connection is live and verified. Now it's time to pull the exact data we need to render our beautiful product listings on the screen. And we do this using Sanity's native query language, which is called Grok. Let's break down this GROQ query snippet because it is incredibly powerful. The asterisk right at the start means look at everything. But then the filter in the brackets, _type equals product, that tells Sanity to only grab our products. After that, 0-4 is a range. It limits the response to just the first 5 items, which is absolutely perfect for a featured products section and saves an immense amount of loading time. Finally, the curly braces specify exactly which fields we want back: the ID, name, price, and image. You're not downloading heavy, unnecessary data properties. You are pulling exactly what you need, which keeps your application lightning fast. Section 5. Cart and checkout process. Fetching and displaying data is great and all, but e-commerce is really about interaction.
So let's transition to the climax of the user journey, the cart and checkout process. This is where the magic happens, and users actually start building their orders.
Think about it. When a user clicks Add to Cart, we rely heavily on React front-end logic. We use state updates to instantly store that selected product object into a cart array. From there, standard array methods just do all the heavy lifting for us. A map function loops through your cart state to visually display the list of items to the user. And hey, if they change their mind, a simple filter function compares the unique product IDs and removes that specific item instantly. It just makes managing the cart state incredibly simple and highly responsive.
Next up is the checkout form. Now, instead of creating 3 completely separate state variables for name, email, and phone, we use a single use state hook and just pass in an object. When the user types, our onChange handler dynamically targets the specific field and updates this one single object. It keeps your code so much more organized and makes passing this data over to our backend significantly easier. It's just a much more professional approach.
Section 6. Saving data back to Sanity. This brings us to the final phase of our circular data journey. The user has added products, they've typed in their personal details, and they hit Submit Order. We now need to take all that front-end data and push it all the way back to our Sanity database.
Now, when you go to save this data, I know it's super tempting to just throw the customer's name, their email, and all their cart items into one massive order document. But instead, we're going to create 2 distinct schemas, a customer schema and an order schema. Separating these is basically a database best practice. It prevents redundant information. I mean, if a customer buys from you 3 times, you definitely don't want their email saved 3 separate times in 3 massive order files. You just want one clean customer profile. So how does this actually build together? Well, to connect those 2 separate schemas, we use a specific data type in Sanity called a reference. In your order schema, you add a field with a type reference that points directly to the customer type. This is literally the glue. It perfectly ties the order to the unique customer ID, linking to 2 pieces of data without any of that messy duplication. So, what is the exact chronological play-by-play the moment that Submit Order button is clicked? It happens really fast. First, using the Sanity client, we run client.create, passing in the customer object. Sanity saves it and immediately returns a success response containing that brand new customer's unique underscore ID. Second, we extract that underscore ID. Third, we run client.create again, but this time we pass in the order details and map that customer underscore ID right into our reference field. In a fraction of a second, the entire dynamic e-commerce loop is completed securely.
And just like that, your entire circular data flow, from API import to front-end rendering all the way to saving database orders, is now fully operational. You have officially mastered the core of the Hackathon Challenge. But here is a final thought to leave you with. Now that the order data is sitting securely in your back end, how exactly will you get the physical product to the customer? Are you ready to level up your hackathon project even further and integrate a live shipment tracking API next? Because let's be real, the journey of building amazing tech never really stops, does it?